It's 7:02. I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order tonight. Good evening. I'm Lynn Edwards. We're going to start by doing a roll call. And that would be John. You're online. You're muted. Thank you.
I'm here.
Thanks. Alex. Andy.
Here.
Bettina. Here. Emily. Here. Jen. Here. Kristen. Here. Sonia.
Here.
Laura's not here. Laura?
I'm here.
Okay, I don't recognize your phone number.
Oh,
Thank you.
the 6813 number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I
see-
sent you a message. I'm sick.
Okay, no big. Thank you. Okay, so only Richard is not here this evening. We do have a quorum. Welcome to everyone. We're not used to having so many people, but thank you for showing up. Adoption of the agenda or agenda changes. I would like to make a motion to add an action item. It was a late request from Groundwork to approve a letter of support for a request for funding that would help our planning group, the other two planning groups in the Choyas Creek watershed area, as well as 3 community councils, financially get websites and hybrid meetings set up. So I'm going to make a motion that we add this letter as an action item, if someone would second it.
I'll second.
Okay. And I'll just call a vote, call real quick. John?
Yes.
Thank you. Alex?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Bettina?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Thank you. And Sonia?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Changes approved unanimously, and that will be the action item. That'll be the first item on our list that we'll address after reports. Do we have any communication from the public on non-agenda items? Raise your hand. And Danielle and anyone online, Mrs. Hernandez. We'll start here with in person and then we'll move to Mrs. Hernandez. If you could stand and identify yourself, please. Non-agenda, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Respectfully request my wife too, because this is a long story. We can make it 2 minutes.
Make it 3 minutes,
Yes.
please. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Go ahead, please.
Basahin mo na yun. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. City Mayor, City Council members, City Attorneys, City Development Services Department, City Planning Department, San Diego Police Department, City Land Use and Environment Group, to whom it may concern. We, the resident of Choyas Parkway, Layas Streamview, Salta, Boise, Mina, Lemon 51st Street, West Bank of Choyas, Greek of Districts 9, certified and report that the home business at 5238 Streamview Drive, ceramics, manufacturing, and town industrial operation has been operated since December 17, 1984, and renewed December 31st, 2024. In our community designated as residential zone. Ceramics kiln industrial activity is known to produce toxicity, polluting the air we breathe, and impacting health and safety of residents, especially children, and seniors with existing medical condition. Oh,
You have 2 minutes. They will tell you to stop. Come on,
You have about half a minute
Just-
left.
Just the name? Just the name?
it's okay. This is an issue since 1984. And by providence or by coincidence, I came into residence 2012 as a substitute teacher, teaching in chemistry, teaching in, within your ambit of your profession. You see something wrong. I myself, what's that? It was a smoke. If you pass by Camp Pendleton, when they operate, it's just like that, like foggy. And the dreaded portion is the fume that goes into your nostril and you sneeze and cough. So you withdraw, go inside your house. And then I asked them, Mom, sir, what's this? Oh, none of your business. You do not know anything about it. Are you a homeowner? We wrote them a letter and he said, oh, everybody pollutes the city. The city is polluted. Cesar, go to the countryside and for your clean air. Neighbor, I am a citizen by choice. I like it here. This is my home. And I see my wife diagnosed, leading to forgetfulness because of that fear. Fear to be enjoying her life in our backyard. Oh, we have a beautiful backyard. I'm telling you, we have grates, etc. I use my jackhammer, I use my radio to put up what we call paradise, our humble paradise. Come to our place and you will see. You will see the potholes. You will see the smelling storm drainage. You will see the death of seniors from unknown cancer, left and right. A street owned by the city is closed and being used by Waldorf for their instruction. That's unfair. The students must be treated carefully. So we are recommending to open that way for emergency services like fire, etc., etc. And the engineering said, oh, we have to study that for 3 years. That's our governance, which we have all the power to say, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, excuse me, Mr. Rivera, excuse me, Mr. Foster, excuse me, all of you, excuse us, do something. This is not to bully. No, this is our country. Sir, your country, my country, our country. Who will tell them? Them? To them? No, it should be us all because we are the ones drawing, charting our progress. Mom, is over 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Danielle?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out that anyone who took an agenda from the table there,
Picked up
it's actually January.
January. Yeah, sorry about that. I printed out the wrong month. Thank you. Okay, and online, Mrs. Hernandez? You have 3 minutes.
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
don't have anything written like eloquently like they just did. I just want to mention to you or let you know that I live on Streamview Drive. And I know this has been an ongoing issue with the residents on Streamview ever since 2016 when they decided to put in those roundabouts. Unfortunately, this past Saturday evening, my husband and I were watching TV, and again, we heard a loud crash. We looked outside, and it was a gentleman who had scraped my granddaughter's car, who was parked across the street, as well as another car right in front of that one. The truck that hit it got stuck there and couldn't move. So in that meantime, the bus was trying to get by, couldn't get by. Other cars were trying to get by, couldn't get by. There is something seriously wrong with that intersection. I know we've already appealed to the city, had them come out. The engineers supposedly came out and checked it and said it was fine the way it is. But this roundabout and the way that it's designed is causing these cars to go into this one area between these two houses. This is the same houses have been impacted 5 different times throughout the years from 2023 or from 2021, I believe was the first one, up until present day on Saturday. I'm asking that you please, if it goes to phase 2 on Streamview Drive, if that ever comes to permission, whatever it is, I'm sorry, permission, will you please look into where the roundabouts are going to be placed? There is another corner at Gale and Streamview, which is supposedly the next roundabout is supposed to be placed there. It is also a narrow area. I don't think it's wide enough to have another roundabout. That's my concern, that it's going to affect those residents as well as it has affected ours. The street right there at the corner has impacted the second house from the corner on Glade Street, Glade and Streamview. And those cars that are parked outside there on the street have been hit over 10 times. 10 different cars have been hit in that one area. And I don't know if that's because they're flying down the street and then they panic because they see the roundabouts coming up. I don't know what's causing that issue, but I'm afraid that if the design is not done properly, we're going to have more cars going into more homes and more cars. And it's eventually going to hurt somebody, seriously. And I don't know who to call, who to contact, because we've tried. I know Miss Mahoney has reached out to the council. She's reached out to the mayor's office. She's reached out to the news. If you look on the news, there's stories about the dangerous area that we live in, you know, that we feel that we're being targeted or just not listened to, because there's beautiful roundabouts everywhere else in the city, but ours just looks like cement, and it's dangerously close because it's so wide, the cars are pushed closer to the curb, and it's impacting our lives because every time I hear a screech, I just shriek, like, who's it going to be next? My granddaughter usually comes and parks in that car and sits there on the phone talking to her parents who are out of state. If she had been in that car, she could have been seriously injured. So
Thank you, Mrs. Hernandez. Your time is up. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else have non-agenda public comments online or here? Okay, we're going to move on to representative reports, and we're going to start first with Bruce Williams, who is our representative for District 4 from Councilmember Henry Foster III's office. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, greetings, everyone. Good to be with you. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you for. Glad to be with you. We wanted to share with you that the council member is making some changes in the office. And tonight, I wanted to introduce the new rep for this area. Her name is Ms. Chandra Clady. Chandra has a wonderful experience. She's been working with the planning department, so she knows a lot about planning, and we're so happy to have her on board in our office as director of policy. And so she will be coming to your meetings, probably virtually, and you can still look me up. If you have any questions, I'll still be the rep for Oak Park and Webster communities, but you're in good hands with Ms. Chandra Clayton, and I want to let her up a few words and maybe go over and talk to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, and hello again. I am in a proud District 4 native, southeastern San Diego, and I years ago had my initial interaction as far as community planning with the Southeastern Planning Group. So, while at the city of San Diego, I was the community planner there, as well as Skyline Paradise Hills and the college area and the Midway sports arena area. But even more so, my most recent experience before joining Councilmember Henry Foster III's office, I was a development project manager with Development Services, responsible for processing the permits, various residential development permits. And then before that, I had a stint for about 12 years with the Housing and Community Development of the state of California in Sacramento. So there's just some things that I would love to pull that together, that experience and my native roots here, and to be of service to all of you and within this community.
Candidate to be mayor.
Any questions for Chandra?
This may have been discussed here previously, but you know when the heck we're gonna get College Grove Drive back? It's gonna stop being a parking lot. And secondly, I was just up at Gloria Mesa today. And the city has every one of the parking spaces taken up there, the employees. There's no place, I mean, nobody from the public can park up there. So if there's some way that you can block off a few spaces so the public can actually, you know, taxpayers can actually use something that's paying for. That's it, Choice Lake Park, and Gloria Mesa's up there. You have city employees have got all the parking spaces in College Grove Drive. Just wondering.
Good question. You were told by the folks over at Run Operations that they're looking at like August. It's probably going to go longer. So
Of course it is.
we will make mention to them that if we could reserve these folks that want to participate in park activities.
I have a question online first, Danielle. Oh, okay.
The fastest way is to talk to the ranger, Joe.
Well, it's just a matter of, yeah, I
Okay.
don't know if they're gonna. It's,
Okay. All right, let's move on. Thank you.
I just need to wrap up by saying I'm gonna leave some of my
Okay.
email and phone number.
Okay. I have a question for you from Laura online. Laura?
Bruce, we had some questions come up about the redevelopment fund for Crossroads. And we were thinking that you might know the status and know if there's any money still there in the Crossroads redevelopment project area account.
I was just sharing with my friend here about Crossroads, and that's been a long time ago. I'll do some research on it to see if there's any funding or if that funding faded into another fund or was used for something else. Back in the day, Crossroads was in District 7. So
Right.
check it out.
Okay.
The reason we wanted to ask you is because somebody thought that at least some of the funds had gone through to Streamview, and so we thought perhaps you would know the status. And if you could point me in the direction to find out, I would really appreciate it. I've looked at some records online, but they seem to be older, and I can't really tell if all the money got used or not. So anything you could do to help, I can send you an email.
Okay, I've already got it. Lynn's asked me about it, and so I will. I'll look into it. With the help of Chandra, and we'll figure it out. Okay.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Any other questions for Bruce or Chandra? Okay, we're going to move on then. Our next representative is Karen Montefar Federico, who's the Senior Community Representative for Supervisor Montgomery Steppe. Hi, Karen.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Nice to see everyone through the screen. As mentioned, I'm the Senior Community Representative for Supervisor Montgomery Steppe. If you have any questions, concerns relating to county issues, always feel free to reach out to me. Some quick updates that have been happening at the county. The county has started talks to add up to 30 new behavioral health inpatient beds at Paradise Valley Hospital. This would expand outpatient treatment options for people with Medi-Cal insurance, bolstering long-term housing options for people with behavioral health conditions, and expand behavioral health workforce training. Additionally, the county has begun an analysis of barriers to optimal Medi-Cal transformation implementation, a feasibility assessment for public awareness campaign, and a development of a Healthy San Diego task force. And lastly, during the summer, the county also requested an audit of EQUIS workforce solutions related to the emergency temporary lodging program. And we will be hearing a report back of that audit. So those are all of my policy updates, some general updates. The Board of Supervisors will hold a special election for the District 1 vacancy. So that election is in April. If it isn't a clear decision then, we will have a general election in June. Let me see what else. As always, please feel free to sign up for our newsletter. You can sign up at supervisormonicamontgomerystep.com to sign up for our newsletter and just to learn the District 4 boundaries and contact information for our team. Most importantly, do want to share as always that we do have grant funds. We will, our second deadline for this fiscal year is April 1st. So if you or anyone you know has a 501c3, I encourage you to attend our virtual grant workshop that will be held on March 6th via Zoom. We will have more information on how to register later this week. So I hope you all can learn more about our grant programs and apply. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Any questions here for Karen or online? Raise your hand. Nope, guess not. You get off easy tonight. Thank you. All right, next up is Fatima Maciel from Mayor Todd Gloria's office. Fatima, I emailed out your report earlier today.
Perfect.
But
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Lynn, for doing that. But yeah, I'll go over a few updates. I wanted to go ahead and start with the council unanimous vote to advance new shelter options. So the council did vote specifically to direct staff to explore further long-term shelter options on private property, specifically at the locations including one on 2nd Avenue, expanding the number of beds at the Veterans Village site in the Midway area, and then looking to redevelop the former Central Library on East Street in East Village. So that comes about after the mayor announced that we will no longer be pursuing the Hope at Vine Shelter campus. So we are looking at other locations because our administration is still very much dedicated to looking for new shelter options so that we could help decrease further, to help decrease any folks on our streets and increase public safety for everybody. So that is something that we're further looking into. So be on the lookout for that. If you want to go ahead, take a look at the presentation that was made yesterday, you could go ahead and tune into City Council's website and you can watch that presentation that was live yesterday. In addition to that, effective January 31st, parking meters will now cost $2.50. So there are over 5,000 parking meters across the city, primarily in our downtown, but we do have some scattered throughout in our uptown, Mid-City, and Pacific Beach communities. So essentially, this came about, again, the fiscal year that we're coming into. It's going to be a tight budget year. So we're looking for ways to increase revenues. And this was something that staff determined that since it hasn't been, since we haven't seen an increase in parking meters in over 20 years, it was time that we address that. And so we decided to increase that. So this will be helping at least make up some revenue for the deficit that we have right now. Again, we're still looking at other resolutions to increase revenue, so this won't be the only thing that we're looking at. So be on the lookout as well. If you didn't tune into yesterday's special meeting at City Council, they went over the council members' budget priorities for the upcoming year. So again, I encourage you, if you didn't already watch it, to tune in. And that was live streamed yesterday, so that's already available on our website as well. Lastly, I know that our storm season is coming up. The meteorologists recorded that recorded that there should be a storm coming in within the next 2 days. And so in preparation for that, the city of San Diego has been taking proactive steps since last year to make sure that everybody is informed about any upcoming storms. So over 10,000 residents who live in floodplain zones received information and guidelines on emergency preparedness, evacuation plans, flood insurance, and other critical flood-related resources. So if you are in a floodplain zone, you have received that information. If not, I did share it with Lynn and the rest of the community leaders in our area. I shared those flyers and brochures, and then also another notice that went out earlier. So please go ahead if you're interested in learning more on how to best prepare, regardless of whether or not you're in a floodplain zone. That material is available to you as well. I know I also sent a very lengthy report to Lynn on other resources available for folks on where to find information in case a flood does happen. So please, if you want that information, you can go ahead and request it from me, and I can go ahead and send it just so you have that available as well. And then lastly, I also wanted to highlight the work that our Environmental Services Department recently did in Choice Creek open space. This is actually coming from a pilot program where we're combining not only Environmental Services Department, but also our Neighborhood Policing Division, Fire Rescue, our open space brush management team to come together and essentially abate locations in high risk zones. So if you haven't also seen the council meeting that we had this past Monday, Fire Rescue came in and did a presentation on high risk fire areas and general fire safety preparedness. Within that presentation, they spoke about their pilot program, where essentially they go through a number of steps where HSSD comes in and does outreach on these encampments, and then after those outreaches are done, we have the additional teams come in. So we have Neighborhood Policing Division do their enforcement work with those folks there. And then we have Environmental Services Department come in and do a encampment clear out. So they pick up any leftover debris or trash that was left over in the encampments. And then we have Fire Rescue spray the area with fire retardant. And then we also have our brush teams go ahead and clear the area as well. So it's been a very successful pilot program thus far. So Choice Creek was one of the locations that was chosen, and there have been a number of other locations. I believe Kensington Hillside Open Space Canyon was also done recently. So there are a few other locations throughout the city that we're working to complete, but I did want to give a huge shout out to that because we are still working to make sure that we're clearing our encampments and also maintaining our open spaces safe from fires. But that is my presentation for today. I mean, my reports and updates for today, but I can take any questions.
Thank you, Fatima. I'm going to take questions from our attendees first. Johannes?
I'm just kind of curious what part of Choice Creek you're talking about, because Choice Creek, several miles long, and so you're doing like a section, but I just wondered what section you're talking about.
I'm not sure the 100% of the where exactly they cleared it. I can go ahead and double check with our team if they can provide a map location of where exactly they did that work. And I can follow up with you if you want. I'll drop my email in the chat, and then you can shoot me an email, or you can drop your email here, and I'll go ahead and contact you with that information.
Okay, he's actually attending in person, so I'll get the information from you and get it to.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Lynn.
All right,
So
thank you.
the Oak Park Library, I understand there's still funding shortfall. I want to make sure we're going to have money for that one. A couple of years behind.
So I'm the community representative for District 9. I don't oversee District 4, so that would be a question for my colleague, Coral, who isn't here. But again, I can go ahead and take your question and forward it to her so that she can provide you updates on that.
Okay, thank you.
My understanding that the funding.
Thanks, Bruce. Cesar?
Madam Karen?
Fatima.
Oh, Fatima. Uncle Cesar. May we respectfully convey to the mayor to come over here and inspect the ongoing construction by the SDG substation. The director of Team Center has confided to me, Cesar, the CPG has no power. Let us bring the mayor who has the power and inspect what's going on. We expect a protection something about this radiation coming from this high voltage. In our neighborhood investigation, there were people got cancer here and died. This apartment there. This is a what you call transition, all about health, mental health,
Is there-
physical health.
Caesar, is there a question here for Fatimas? Because we need to move on tonight.
Fatima, the mayor is the solution.
Thank
If he
you.
cannot allow somebody, step down, please. Tell him.
Thank you. Thank you. Jen, did you have a question for
I
Fatima?
do. Does the parking increase also include Sundays and holidays?
I believe that is something that they are looking at. There are still a number of parking reforms that will be coming forward. We still don't know exactly what is going to be laid out and presented to the council, but that is something that they are looking at. As of right now, it's just a $2.50 increase.
Thank you.
And I think it goes to 8 o'clock instead of 6.
Fatima, I also have one question for you. Are they looking at forming any new parking districts outside of basically downtown?
Currently, that I know of, they are not looking to form any additional parking districts, but there may be reforms to the current parking districts that we already have right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Fatima? All right, let's move on then. Up next is Roberto Marin, who is our community representative from Councilmember Sean Elo Rivera's office.
What's
Good
up,
evening
guys?
to you.
How are you guys?
Rocking and rolling.
All right, all right. So thank you so much for attending, Roberto Marin, Community Rep, Internship Manager. I wanted to start off by saying I met with Franklin, Deputy Director of Environmental Services, today on site on Choyos Parkway behind Northgate. That's where the majority of the cleanup was. They removed 7.5 tons of trash. That is the second largest cleanup behind the island. We were there with city staff, open space, MPD. We were with park rangers. We spoke at length of what this project occurred. We had spoken to them in November about this idea. And they mentioned that they were interested in doing some sort of operation that required numerous departments. And this is quite frankly a cost-saving measure. This is us utilizing our departments to the maximum. When you have multiple departments coming in at different times of the day, different times of the week, it's not cost-saving. We're wasting money. So what the departments really ultimately realized was combining these efforts together, right? So we've had on Monday, ESD, NPD came and posted their 24-hour abatement signs. On Tuesday, NPD abated those. ESD started the cleanup process into Wednesday of last week. Then they removed obviously the 7.5 tons. Then after that, open space came in with about 7 crews from Urban Corps. So that's approximately 50 to 60 workers trimming non-invasive or invasive species, which is we got our pepper trees and some other invasive species that I know the biologist was on site. So they have a biologist that tags the invasive species and also the non-natives. So we're making sure that we cut the actual trees that need to go. It does look drastically different. There was 3 active fires when ESD came in on this last Monday. So that was a big concern. We found about 5 propane tanks, live propane tanks, which is a real concern for our office and the council member making very clear that these encampments cannot exist in these open spaces. And then today, obviously, they're wrapping up with the brush abatement, and it looked great. They did some defensible space weed abatement on top of the hillside where they could. Obviously, with the rains, they're going to have to pause their efforts. Fire department and stormwater will be out there in the next 2 to 3 weeks to finish up work. So we thank ESD for doing that. We have Aldine Drive and Fairmont. That will be the somewhat tentatively next one. Before that, it will be the Otay River Valley that will be worked on as well with the same efforts. So if you have any suggestions on where we think staff should be utilizing this kind of pilot program, I feel free to reach out to our office and chime in on that. ESD is very supportive of supporting the community and making sure that we get our hazards squared away before the fire season, unfortunately, which is year round. We're also going to be instituting a red curbing from 54th all the way to the University Avenue side. So no trucks, no vehicles will be parking whatsoever. If they are, SDPD has told us that they're going to try their best for enforcement. Obviously, they are tight everywhere throughout the city, but I know I'm going to be working with Officer Cummings to make sure that we keep that at bay. So out of the folks that were sheltered, it's going to be 16 folks that were sheltered out of 20 that HSSD had. So that is a tremendous win for us. And so 4 of those individuals returned today and they actually got put into shelter. So every single person that was in the camps got shelter. That has been confirmed. That is the first time I've seen something like that happen. So progress is being made, progress is being done, and being proactive is something that we take really good pride in, and also the council member trying to make sure that we do the best for our communities. We're talking about kind of what is the next steps for our office and kind of what we're looking for in terms of community outreach. We're going to be doing some beautification projects, a beautification campaign throughout the city or throughout the district, I'm sorry. And that will be spearheaded by myself and the interns. So if you have any suggestions of some real rough areas in District 9, please let us know. We're going to be turning those into murals, tree planting opportunities. We're going to be restoring some of the sidewalks. So it's going to be a massive project that we're doing. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. And then lastly, I wanted to touch base on the stream view comments that Ms. Hernandez mentioned. Unfortunately, we were not in office when these roundabouts were put into place, but we have been very consistent on the record and with city staff that they need to listen to community input. And one of the community inputs will be happening in late March for the Stream View Phase 2 project at either the Eastern Area Planning Committee here or at a different time frame that works for the residents. We've been advocating for these changes. As Lynn and some of the board members know, there is actually a lot of good that has come up from this plan, a lot of trees, landscape, etc. So it's going to look a lot better than what you're seeing, Ms. Hernandez. And I know it's easier said than done to say trust the city, because honestly, sometimes you can't trust the city. But we're working diligently to restore that for y'all and to see changes. I did get word from ECP, Engineering Capital Projects, that it is ahead of schedule. This project is ahead of schedule. And we're looking, right now, they're just trying to identify a couple more funding opportunities. That's from what I understand. But the project is not being stalled or anything like that. They're actually going to be meeting with SDG&E next month to finalize that agreement. So that's it for me. If you have any questions, happy to take them.
Okay, thanks, Roberto. I'm going to take one from Danielle, and then I will start with Danielle.
Thank you. Hi, Roberto. It's Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Just a quick update on the trees on University Ave.
So they're, as I mentioned, they're going through the rebidding phase, and as I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but the 70 trees are still intact. That's a non-negotiable for our office. We've been consulting with the council president, Joe LaCava's team, to make sure that stays in there. But as far as I'm concerned, Sandag is sought that the price tag for one of these projects was way too expensive, and so they're rebidding and they're adjusting. So that could be, as I mentioned to Lynn, an opportunity for the group to maybe adjust their plan if we can. So I'm going to leave that door open for y'all to talk about and think about.
Okay, and then you mentioned something about art in the neighborhood, District 9, maybe University Ave would be a good spot.
Sure. Yeah, I'm again taking all suggestions, so I'll be sure to write that down.
Okay. I do want to clarify those 70 trees, 29 of them are in City Heights and 44 trees between 54th and College. There are 0 trees planned for College to Aragon.
One of the things, Lynn, that we're trying to work with is quick builds. So as the council member has mentioned in media and interviews and such, is quick builds that are like basically, I believe, on Aragon and El Cajon Boulevard. Obviously, we don't want all cement, but there is room for that, and we are exploring those options currently with staff.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Caesar, you have a question for Roberto?
Number one, thank you, Roberto, mi amigo, your uncle Cesar. This is a review, and thank you for your advice saying that keep talking to the city. You are the city, my friend. They do not listen. Councilor Rivera was supposed to give the solution for this fire handicap, particularly our firefighters. They do not have rule so that they could enter private property. That's the one solution. Not to, hey, elementary school, you did a good job for the good evacuation. That is not a solution. That's campaigning. We need governance, my friend. You're doing your work properly and honestly, thank you. Let Mr. Rivera step down. You take over, please.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you, Caesar.
Jen, you had a question?
I do not.
Okay, Kristen, you had a question.
Kristen.
I wanted to say thank you for all the work that you did on Troya's Parkway, and I appreciate the fact that you are looking into getting the curbs painted red. I drive down that street every day, and I noticed that there are a lot of places between 54th and University that don't have curbs. And so I was wondering if there is a plan of action for the spaces without curbs, because we know that people are just going to move to those spots. And then secondly, I drive down that street a lot in the evening, and there aren't any street lights from 54th to until you get to University. And I've had a couple of very close encounters with almost hitting a couple of people, which might not be as much of a problem now that folks have been put in other spaces or now have housing, but there's no street light there at all, and it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah, thank you for that. Two, real quick, because I know we're limited on time. Number one, there will be no parking signs whatsoever that will be implemented with or without the red curbing. That is a request that we made. And as a matter of fact, ESD also is supportive of this. And the majority, if not every single community member and also business wants this. So we will be working hand in hand. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when it will happen. We've requested an expedited job for this. It's 60 to 90 days. We're looking to do it quicker than 60 days. And the second question, or for the second part of your question, is the streetlights. We have Choice Triangle Park that's going to be somewhat going online soon. I have a meeting with Andy this week to talk about that. Andy Field with the Parks and Rec director. And so we'll be discussing kind of how they're going to vacate that. And one of the things is that's the main reason why they're not putting any streetlights, is because that whole area is just going to be leveled for the park. But I will bring those concerns to PD. And also the council member has flagged this for the chief as well. Nefarious activities, folks doing, if you're back there, you're not doing something good. I'm just being honest, being frank as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard, you had a question for Roberto?
Yes, hi, Roberto. Thank you very much for the update. And it's very good to see different departments working together instead of working separately. And I understand about not being, about vacating, you know, and I'm looking at, you know, I'm a dreamer. I would like to ask if there's a way that Choice Triangle Park can be expedited, because I think that once that's developed, many of these problems will go away if it's designed properly. That's part of that. And the second part of that is I would like to see stormwater included in all those discussions on Choice Parkway, on the Choice Triangle Park. Because I remember going to a previous presentation by planning, and they said that the creek segment is not part of the park. And as we all know, for those of us who have been around before the Leo Street bins went in, it was a very beautiful riparian strip. White egrets, ducklings in there, and now you can see what has happened since 2019. So we would like to see that restored, and I think you're gonna have stormwater involved in that.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Stormwater has been in discussions with our office in terms of how they can be proactive in that, and I think that's something that I'll take into consideration with Andy. Again, I think most of these problems are going to go away when the park opens. Something that I think we all need to just keep in mind, right, with the budget, right? You all are very well aware of our position about Choice Triangle Park. We want 0 funds allocated anywhere else to the general fund, etc. Right? Folks are going to bring up different ideas. The mayor's got his, but budget that's going to be released. I can't tell you what that looks like, but at least for us, that's a non-negotiable. And I'm sick and tired of hearing that we're going to push things out another 10 years. It's unacceptable. At this point, it's ridiculous. And put your money where your mouth is. That's just how I'm going to say it, right? And our council member and our team has been very consistent in putting our money where our mouth is, which is serving communities that have not been served for decades. So that's something that we'll be discussing with Andy, but also just generally, Richard, that we want to see this park expedited, and whatever we need to do, whatever it takes, we're gonna do.
Okay, thank you. Any last questions? We need to move on. Okay, thank you, everyone. Last but never least would be Mr. Sam Gonzalez, who's our representative for State Senator Dr. Akila Weber Pearson's office. Long time no see, Sam.
What a lovely introduction. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everyone. Last time I saw you last year, I said I may or may not be here. You're stuck with me for the foreseeable future. Yeah, so my name is Sam Gonzalez, District Representative for State Senator Akila Weber Pearson. I lost my notes, so I'm just going to go off what I remember. And I have good memory. So I'm going to talk a quick bit about the district. We were in the assembly before, Assembly District 79. We still cover that region, plus the rest of San Diego, all the way up to Coronado. So it's a larger district. My community meeting groups are now double. So luckily for you guys, Hillcrest doesn't have a town council, so I'm here every Tuesday. So I'll be here more often. And yeah, I mean, if you guys ever want to reach me, my card is right there. You can set up one-on-one appointments. You can set up a group appointment, and I'm happy to talk to you about whatever you want to talk to, as long as it pertains to the state activities. So that way I have a reason to let you into the office. The first update is that our office is having our annual YLP program. That's your Young Legislators Program. It's basically a 6-month seminar for high school students in sophomore or junior grades. And we basically teach them how to become legislators or get interested in the legislator and government issues. We have them present their bill ideas at the end of the 6-month sessions to a board of qualified, trusted people in the communities. And I do have one flyer with me that I can share at the table if you want to take a photo of it, or if you know a high schooler that might be interested in the program. The applications are due March 1st, and you can contact me to help you submit that application packet. We will be hosting tabling sessions at Hoover, Crawford, and other high schools throughout the district for the next 2 weeks. If you know anyone, again, it's a YLP program. It's free. It's every Wednesday afternoon for 6 months, once a month. And at the end, you get to present a bill idea as a student, and you get a certificate. The second thing is we have our Women of Distinction and Women of the Year nominations due tomorrow. So we sent out an e-alert at the beginning of the month, I think last month or this month, I remember. I mixed up the dates, but they're due tomorrow. All you need to do is go to our website, submit a nomination. It can be as short as 1 sentence or 3 pages long. We've seen it all. As long as it's coherent and we know who you're trying to nominate and why you're trying to nominate them for. There's a couple categories. There's STEM categories, education categories, business and community leadership awards or nomination categories for Women of Distinction and Women of the Year. They're due tomorrow. My card's right there. If you want some help formulating an application, I can help you guys do that. Last thing is we have a Senior Advisory Council seats open for application. They're due at the end of the month. And basically, it's similar to a town council. The member wanted to have that be a feature of our office. We actually started in the last office we were at, the Assembly District, and she carried it over to the Senate. So we are receiving applications that are due at the end of the month for the Senior Advisory Council. I don't have all the description requirements with me, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, you can contact me. My card's right over there. And if I, anything else? Yes, one last thing. Is the lady that saw me yesterday at college area here?
She's online, Laura.
Laura, are you there? I don't see her.
It's a phone number.
Phone number, okay.
I'm here. I was just muted. Sorry.
No worries. So she had me do some homework on some bills, so I'm just gonna quickly give those out to her. So as you guys know, the state Senate legislative session just started. Application bill ideas or bill submissions are due at the end of the month. In the Assembly, we could submit up to 25 bill ideas per year. At the Senate, we can only submit like less than 15. So right now there's only about 5 bill ideas that have a label. It's SB 93. The description is weapons dealing with robotic devices. This is basically a bill in working with Boston Dynamics to address the weaponization of robots. So you see those little police dogs every now and then. The senators thought it'd be a good idea to continue our efforts to address this issue and put in some safeguards for our community. The second bill is SB 89, pesticide use, glyphosate. This one's actually, fun fact, community requested. So a constituent in the district emailed the senator. We forwarded it to her, and she thought it was a good idea. So basically, this pesticide that is pretty harmful to us as people is going to be banned for public use. But if you're a business that requires it, you can apply for a license and then purchase it. So just dealing with a lot of administrative changes there. And I'm just going to speed run through these. SB 39, cosmetic safety, vaginal or vulvar products. SB 32, public health, maternity work closures. SB 277, criminal procedures, search of persons. I think that is, no, one more. SB 236, cosmetics, chemical hair relaxers. If any of those sound interesting to you, or you have a bill in the state legislature that you want me to look at, you can ask me now or email me later. I love doing research and love answering your questions. And with that, if you have any questions now or later, you can ask me now or later.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. Johannes?
When I was talking about the Oak Park Library and the shortage of funds, Bruce said the 9 million. Well, I think the 9 million is actually appropriated at the state level, but they haven't picked it loose. So, hey, come on.
No, yeah, and I
Pick
think,
it loose, will you?
yeah, no, I think that's a good, I guess, question. I was wondering if we had any push in driving that money down, but I don't know. So I'll have to do research on that as well.
I think it's been appropriated or set aside or something up there.
Yeah, if it's set aside, it should.
Pick it loose yet, so it's kind of like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
Just to pick it loose.
I'll check in with, I wish. Well, we can check in with her anyways, yeah. No, I'll check in with the right people and see what's going on with that at the state level. Oftentimes when the money is appropriated, it just automatically sends to the city and we just.
So it's still sitting.
Okay. I'll see if we can find it and see what's up with that.
All right. Thank you. Richard, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sam. What was that? You mentioned a Senate bill for searches?
Search of persons?
Search of persons, yeah. What's that?
77.
Senate, okay, SB 77.
277.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Sam? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our work tonight. Thank you. So first up was a request from Groundwork for a letter of support. Did everyone get the letter? I emailed it out today. I have some hard copies here if anyone needs a copy of it. Comments?
A great idea.
It's a good cause.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank
See
you.
you next month.
Thank you.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye, Bruce. Well,
Comments about the letter? Questions? Yes. This was a late action item tonight, Danielle. It was a request from Groundwork to write a letter of support for an environmental justice grant that they're going after. And some of the funding would be used for the 3 planning groups in the Choyas Creek watershed. Part of that funding would be used to help buy equipment for hybrid meetings and also build out websites. Yeah. Well, the letter just came up today. So yeah, they've just asked for a draft.
Could you tell us beside Eastern area, which other 2 planning groups?
Yes, Choyas Valley and Southeastern.
Thank you so much.
Yep, and also 3 community councils, Oak Park, Webster, and Mount Hope. Okay. All good causes. The funding would be used, I think, for good. Who's going to argue about this, folks? Yeah. And I think part of the money, as I understand it too, would be to provide some interns or some outside help to help with the website and help with community outreach. So please, someone point out the negatives to me here. I don't.
We make a motion.
Or we're just reviewing it tonight. No, we can prove it. If someone would like, yeah. Yes.
So, hi everyone, Ozzy Meneses from San Diego. I'll add to this that even though this is a one-time grant, the whole goal is to be able to show the city that this is actually needed to support the operations of this planning. So as Groundwork, we're gonna, the goal is to get this and be able to do it and show them that like with even a small amount of money, like a lot of more outreach and engagement can be done by the community for the community.
Okay.
So the goal is to be able to then show that to the city and to be able to then have them, I believe, $500 is what's given right now. To be able to
Yes.
support more than $500.
Why is it addressed to the state if we're asking the city for the money?
It's not the city, it
No,
goes to the
it's
state.
a state grant, but it's then to show, it's kind of like a proof of concept, right? We get the state grant and then we show the city, like, this is the type of money that's needed to support the ongoing operations of planning groups and the city council, neighborhood council.
That's a good question. I don't know if you know the answer, but do you know what like the measurables are going to be for the grants?
I
It's
don't
okay if
know
you don't,
yeah,
because that's
I don't know the
kind of
specifics of that, but I would think it's how many people we reach,
yeah.
how many more people are able to attend meetings. And let's say, for instance, if there is an intern doing all this, it allows let's say whomever is the secretary or whatever to then actually do more community outreach and then the intern support the admin function.
Right. Thank you, Elsie. Just a moment, I have someone online first. Mr. Lopez, you had a question?
Yes, my name is Jose Lopez, and I am the president of Sunshine Little League here in City Heights, and this will be my 3rd year as the president. And I'm on here because I received an email today that we were going to be talking about Groundworks development for Sunshine Little League, which we've been going through for 30 years. And I just wanted to point out that if we are going to approve a grant, if we can get the community involved, we have been left out of any type of planning for this development. And it kind of seems like we're granting money for people to develop in our community, and they're not getting community support. And then we just kind of just wasting the money. It's kind of we're going in circles. And I just wanted to point out there that if we are going to talk about getting a grant, we should really get the community involved. And I just wanted to point that out that the Little League here in City Heights, where they're trying to develop, we've just been left out and not been included in any type of planning or developing. And I just want to point out that please get us involved, and we're all volunteers here at Sunshine Little League, and it's just disappointing that we've been left out. So Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Someone want to make a motion to approve the letter as is or with changes? Kristen,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the letter as is.
second. Alex, second. Okay. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Bettina,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
Jen,
Yay.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Thank you. Richard
Yes.
and Sonia.
Yes.
All right, approved unanimously as is. We will send this off. Thank you, everyone, on that one. Next up, we have an information item, and this is from Groundwork. They're presenting on 2 key Choice Creek watershed initiatives, and they would like to get some input from us on 1, the Sunshine Berardini field renovation, and 2, the bikeway plan, Choice Creek Bikeway. And I would point out that Groundwork asked the city to reopen the bikeway plan. Was it a survey that was closed down very shortly and didn't really collect any input from anyone in this area, in the Choice Creek area. So with that said, Ozzy, I will turn it over to you. And
Presentation.
yeah, I'm going to bring up your presentation.
Any preferred place for me to stand?
Somewhere in here is good.
Okay.
It's an omnidirectional
There you go.
speaker, so generally it's pretty good.
Kind of way here. There's no podium, so I'm like.
No, actually move in just a little
Right
bit.
here?
Yeah, that's good.
So as she loads it up, I'll introduce myself. My name is Ozzy Meneses. I'm with Groundwork San Diego, started full-time with them at the beginning of this year. I've been working with Groundwork for the past about 1.5 part-time. I am their community partnerships and communications manager. I have a background in planning and engineering. A lot of community outreach and engagement has become my specialty. So this is part of what I'm doing here to represent the work that Groundwork is doing with and for the communities. So first of all, thank you for having me here today. Put together this presentation to give you a little bit of background in case you don't know the specifics about Groundwork and what we do, and then what our ask is here for today. So if I can go to the next page. So basically, this is the agenda for today. Like I said, we're going to go over a little bit about who Groundwork is, why we do what we do, the partners in our vision. We're asking for some feedback from the communities for the projects that Lynn mentioned. And then I'll have some links, some QR codes for the surveys. And I have some pages here as well for those surveys. They're online surveys. And just closing. So next slide, please. So Groundwork. So we are basically the stewards of the Choice Creek watershed. So it's a long paragraph. You guys want to read it. Lynn has the presentation as well. But our mission is to empower individuals, businesses, and organizations to promote environmental, economic, and social well-being. So specifically, we work in all the different aspects of the watershed itself. And we do social, environmental, and climate justice. And the goal is to deliver education, green infrastructure, and climate-safe neighborhoods. Go to the next slide. So we do this specifically to restore the Choice Creek and the surrounding areas as valuable community assets. We do this also to promote the sustainable development, recreation, access for our children and adults alike, and we do environmental education as well. So some of that has been like a resident empowerment training, of which we have a couple of people here that have gone through that. And specifically in our areas, to ensure that our historically underserved communities are represented, that they do get the investments that they need and deserve, and specifically that they have a say in these developments, specifically their environmental infrastructure projects. So next slide. And we partner with our community specifically. So for instance, today we're here to your planning committee to get feedback on a couple of projects that are going on that are relevant to your communities, to your residents. And we asked if you take one of these flyers to also share it with the residents around you to get the feedback specifically from the residents that these projects are meant to directly serve. So our goal is to engage communities, not work at communities, but with the communities that we serve. So like it says, is community-driven planning, and we work together for these watershed projects. Right? And our vision is a restored and reconnected Choyas Creek watershed. So it's not just the creek itself, it's the watershed, everything around it that affects the creek. You notice the flooding that happened last year, January 22nd, it's the creek that flooded. But it's not just that one area, it's everything upstream that affected. So our goal is this entire restored and reconnected, not just for the creek itself, for the waterway, but trails, parks, things like that, that for all of us to enjoy as well. So we aim to create the climate safe neighborhoods and focusing on green infrastructure, education, and community engagement. Next slide, please. So today, we're talking about two different projects. One is the Choyas Creek Bikeway Plan. So this was, and both of these are City of San Diego projects. So the first one, the City of San Diego did a survey last year, and I think it closed in September. And when we went and looked at it, and it was an entire citywide survey, there weren't that many comments for or from the Choyas Creek watershed. So Leslie Reynolds, our director, and they're talking with the city and had the city open up their survey. And then for us, we felt like we wanted to take a more active stance and actually created our own survey. So when you look at the QR code and you go to that survey, that's going to be our internal survey, so that we make sure that we collect the data and we are very open about that data with the community planning groups that we work with. And we are going to send that data to the city. Now, the city has their own survey that we asked them to open up as well, that gets into a lot more detail. So, and that one is available at the end of our survey. We provide that link to you, and you can go in there and directly drop pins. So like if there's a very specific intersection that you want to make a comment on, you go ahead, it's an interactive map that they have, and then you can drop a pin. So all that will be in that survey. So specifically, this is to create a more connected, safe, and accessible bikeway network. So this is already in the plans of the city. So for us, is just to get more feedback to actually tell them, yes, this is a good idea. And, or maybe you're like, no, I want it here instead, things like that. The other project is the Sunshine Berendini field renovation. This is also being led by the city of San Diego. There are specifically two different concepts that are being presented. And we were told recently that there was a community meeting where not a lot of people went to provide feedback. So what we want, we're presenting both of the concepts, and we want the community, the people that are going to use this park and the residents around it, to be able to provide some feedback. The goal is to upgrade the entire facility so that there's more access, that there's actually a trail that people can use and things like that. So you can look at the different concepts and provide your opinion on those as well. So right now I'll show you the concepts a little bit. Into each one, we'll go through them. So like I mentioned, this is Choyas Creek Bikeway Plan. This is a map that Groundwork put together to kind of show what are all the, so if you look at the red lines, that is where a lot of the projects are. The ones that are a heavier line are very specific segments that we are focusing on for different projects. So when you scan the QR code, I'll give you one of the pages. You can go through and look at the 6 different segments that are part of that. So specifically, like we mentioned, the bikeway plan, we wanted people to actually be represented. There was, I don't even remember, there was like 10 to 15 comments out of a watershed of like 300,000 people. So we wanted to be able to give our voice a little bit more for this. So next slide. So as I mentioned, as you go through the survey itself, you're going to zoom in a little bit more into the 6 different bikeway segments, so you can provide your feedback on those as well. And then at the end, you'll be able to go to the city itself survey to provide more feedback. So next slide. And right now, if you want to scan the QR code, go ahead and scan it. It'll be a proof of concept for me. Maybe Sam can help me out. First time we're doing this right here. So you can scan it. It'll go to our job form survey. Should be very friendly. You can take your time with it. Take it at home. Like I said, I'll give you one of the pieces of paper as well. So the two, number 1 and number 2, are just 2 halves of the watershed and which are the projects that we're talking about. And then on the right-hand side are just different concepts of what these bikeways could look like. Either as the top one is like an aerial tramway that goes over the creek itself, one that goes adjacent to the creek. Other parts that are some even within the creek itself, depending on the concepts, and provide some more feedback on those.
It just says, do you support it, yes or no, and then other comments, like, can I support every one of them?
Yeah, you can support every one of them or provide specific comments for any of them. Specifically, like if you like live nearby one of them and you know it specifically, and provide, if you want to provide some specific comments. If you want to go into even more detail, like I mentioned, that after you submit the survey, you get the link to the city survey as well. I'll take a quick pause if anyone has any quick questions on this one before I move on to Sunshine or Nini. Yeah.
Is this bikeway related to the grant that was grant a decade ago or more? Did that money disappear, or is this incorporated in that?
I can't speak for that specifically because I don't know.
Caltrans grant, that I know. Supposed to be from 54th down to the.
If it was a Caltrans grant, if it was the Little League, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because this one specifically is the City of San Diego bikeway plan. So if that one maybe did some pre-work, maybe the city took it on.
I think Canyon Lane got
Is that the Oak Park Trail that you're referring to?
Yeah, it's kind of the Oak Park Trail.
Kind of. If it is the Oak Park Trail, that is one of the ones that are in this
That
project.
was part of the Caltrans grant. Because, yeah, it's a bikeway, walking, hiking, just go from 54th down to.
Okay, then yeah, that's the one that you'll see on number 2, on the top hand side, basically where the Triangle Park is, where we're located right now. You'll see it right underneath where it says proposed bikeways, right next to number 2. That's where I'm standing, you're sitting right now. And then that line goes all the way down to Choice Creek. So that is that from 54th down to.
Hey, this money's been appropriated, where'd it go?
It's sitting in capital
Yeah.
improvement projects and city engineering. It's still in design. I did see, I think it got pushed out a little bit. It's not going to start until 2026 now. July 20.
Well, that would be a great comment, right? That would be a great comment for you to provide on this survey and be like, hey, like we knew this and that.
I see that you're not looking at.
Another great comment. So we'd appreciate if you fill it out because these are from what the city currently has. So if we can provide those comments to the city and then we can officially provide them and follow up with that.
And just to follow up again, this is an infrastructure priority that we submitted at the end of the summer last year, was to put in a bike lane on 54th. So the idea being, once the university bikeway is completed, you should be able to connect from there to go to 54th, go to the library, go to the lake. But that one was just submitted last summer. We don't know. Again, you know.
Okay. No questions?
Yeah, it's only been around for like this quarter.
Yeah.
What the heck? Thank you.
I'm not done yet. So if you have a question, I'll move on.
Okay, thank you.
You have a question?
All right. I appreciate your honesty. You're wise. You're an engineer. You really think. I think you're a top notch in your calculus. I wonder if how you tie this development with the pure water, county and city. Our clean water is jeopardized. And the lawmakers of the city are blackmailed and compelled to, approve the continuance of that contract with the pure water.
Cesar, we're talking about the bikeway. Did you have a question about that?
This is all about.
No, this is about the bikeway project tonight. And if you have a question about that,
That's why
please
I'm
ask.
telling Herman, please. Brown Act says I can.
Within reason. We're on a time frame here
Sorry,
tonight.
but I want to help you, my friend, because your project is very, very important to survival of humans. And our, you mentioned about the species that we would like to preserve.
Yeah. And to address like the water aspect, like since, we are the stewards of the watershed itself, our goal is.
Joyous
yeah,
Creek is the trash can of the byproduct we call sludge from the pure water treatment.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, ma'am, I insist to be heard, because they are wasting their money. It is a duplicate effort.
We are talking about a bikeway project here, sir.
So-
Ozzy, would you,
And you
Please
can address,
consider-
and you can do on the
maybe you could
survey.
take it on.
Okay, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So-
Any other questions, or can we move
Yeah, I
on?
can move on to the next slide. So the next slide is Sunshine Verdini field renovation. So this one, there is funding to advance this, create significant renovation. So this is just how it currently looks right now. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So there's two concepts right now that are being represented, and I apologize for that. Great blockout. When it goes to PDF, it sometimes does what it wants. So I apologize for that. But it's a quiz. Behind it says Sunshine. So in case you're trying to guess what it said. So Sunshine Verdini field renovation, these are the two design concepts. Both concepts, I want to clarify that the goal is that either one of these will both extend the Choice Creek Trail to improve the connectivity. There will be expansion of recreational opportunities through various park improvements, including, shelters, benches, things like that. And then also improve the existing baseball fields, as someone mentioned, local Little League values. So both of the concepts will do that. There are different specifics about the differences between those, and I believe they've come here before to talk about this, or no?
No, it would go to the CRG.
Oh, the CRG.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there is a presentation that the city has where they go into a lot more detail about that. If you're curious about the different ones, we haven't gotten into that level of detail in our presentation, nor in our survey. But you're welcome to look at the concepts right here. We're asking for someone to.
Oh, so I had a question.
Yes.
This right here looks like a park right here, right?
Yeah.
Is that like a trailhead or a path or something with benches and umbrellas and things that would make it a place you'd want to visit, like a?
Yeah. From my understanding, that is a walking trail up there, and I believe gardens as well.
And it has been funded and approved, and we're just waiting for something to be built there.
So to answer your question, this level is approved, and I think the next phase is approved, so they're trying to move it on.
Will it
I
be
don't know.
open? Like if like the baseball fields right now are only open during baseball season and only when there are games on. So like I live walking distance from there and I would love to see that open during the day.
My understanding
No.
is that they would open it, but I
Okay.
think the city could specifically answer that.
I have a question from Sue online. Sue?
Hi, this is Sue Richardson. I'm the current chair of the Colina del Sol Community Recreation Group. I'm trying to turn on my video, but it doesn't look like I have that. Oh, there. Let's see if that works. Hey. This project right now is only funded for a general development plan. The renovation, which has not been approved at this point. The city came to the January 15th Colina del Sol Community Recreation Group asking for approval for one of these two alternatives, and they didn't have enough information for the community recreation group, and we felt that they didn't have enough public input or information for our group, and so we basically sent them back asking for more information with their presentation and a little bit more community outreach. So neither one of these proposed alternatives have yet been approved for the general development plan. So the city's currently seeking approval from the local level, which is us at the community recreation group, and then it would go to the further park and recreation board for approval, and then it would be just approved as the GDP, and then it would seek future funding for construction once they ever would get funding for design or then construction in the future. So this is basically still just a concept design. So the city will be coming back either at the March 19th meeting, or if they can't get everything together, that we've asked for more community outreach, which will probably include additional surveys, or we've asked, it appears that there's some spring events at some schools in the area, because they're supposed to be doing additional outreach to both the Little League and the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhoods. They might not even come back until May. So keep an eye out for, the community recreation group only meets every other month. So keep an eye out for, and we'll notify this planning group, or the city will, of when that next meeting is. And Lynn's on our board as well to let you know when those are, so that you can come and listen to the presentation from the city on the pros and cons and the benefits of the two different alternatives, the budget differences, and what the different types of the trails, and the difference between the multi-use fields, and what the two different concepts are, to help give public feedback and input on those two different concepts, so that when we make our recommendation to the full Park and Recreation Board, we'll be able to help make a decision on that. So that's the update on that project.
Thanks very much, Sue. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. So if we go to the next slide.
I have, Richard, did you have a question real quick so we can move on?
Yeah, real quick, just so the city and the recreation groups understand that uphill from the fields, MTS is going to put in a maintenance yard. That is big time industrial construction, and they're going to have to install the best available technology for stormwater prevention, so that it doesn't undermine what the fields are going to look like. I just want you guys to understand that you've got to have stormwater involved, and because this is a great project for for our community, but you'd hate to see the city not working together. So definitely MTS is going to be putting it in the maintenance yard. There's also some other activity. There's even a proposed fire station. So there's going to be a lot of activity that is not recreational, but could possibly impact the recreational fields.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Let's let Ozzy finish his presentation first.
So the next slide is just the QR code, and I just handed everyone.
Okay.
I just handed everyone the QR code. So this piece of paper has both QR codes. So you can take it home, fill that out on your time. And as people mentioned, right, we want to get feedback on this. So we want to show the city that there are people interested. Sometimes the city will say that, hey, we didn't get enough engagement, then we're not going to move the project forward. So
Doesn't take more than 300 feet.
right. So then our goal is, as for us, for the groundwork, the stewards of the watershed, we're here to engage people and get you to help us engage people as well. So I'd appreciate if you guys can send that out. And I know, Lynn, when the Colina del Sol meets, I think likely March 19th, we're going to make sure to get people to help to move it along.
Danielle?
So first of all, I want to thank you for coming to Eastern area. Because Leslie and I had a short little conversation on why we did not vote on alternative 1 or 2 from the last January meeting.
Yeah.
And I said, because we didn't feel there was enough community engagement. Because the original survey was plan A or a plan B. And then all of a sudden in January, when the city came back to give it to us at the city CRG, at Colina CRG, it changed to alternative 1 and 2. So I said, well, we got to start all over again. People for their input on alternative 1 and 2. So that was just a little piece that Sue, she gave a very good synopsis of what's going on so far and what has to go into the future. I have a specific question. Is the bikeway also going to be along the Sunshine Barabini Fields? And if yes, is it a terminus at the fields, or is it supposed to cross Federal and go over to the Home Ave Triangle, Federal Park, and continue on to the bay? That first part of it.
I think the general concept is that the bikeway would go through and connect throughout the Choice Creek. Now, the specificity as to where it is or whether it's part of Berardini, that I don't know.
Okay, so
That may not
could
be
you
determined yet.
please, the next time you talk to, your board at Groundworks, find out if they have the, political will to get the red light at the entrance to Sunshine Berardini so that pedestrians, bicyclists, and everyone else can cross the street.
Yeah.
I see a thumbs up at Kristen.
Yeah, let's go for that one because
I've asked and they said, oh, it's not part of the project for Berardini GDP, and oh, it's not part of the project for, you know, the bike trail, whatever, but you can't get people
Yeah.
across those two traffic lanes with all the trucks that want to go down to Home Ave and get on Highway 94. It's gonna be like fodder if you don't have a red light, so pedestrians can push the button, bicyclists can push the button, stop the traffic, get across safely from the north side of Federal to the south side of Federal, and then go on to the little triangle park and wherever else they want to go. Please.
for sure that's very important to us because for us, you can't just do like small little projects that then don't connect to anything. I've worked in planning before where we built this beautiful sidewalk and it doesn't connect to anything. It's just for show. So our goal, I mean, right now we have a project that's shovel ready right along that corridor on Federal, the pocket park, the dechannelization of the creek. Yeah, so then the goal is to then be able to connect that and then connect it to the Mount Hope Trail as well, to the rest of the, you know, there's a lot of ones. Our goal is to continue doing this and continue advocating with the communities to get these projects continue moving, whether it's the city of San Diego, whether it's Sandag, or, you know, their interaction with MTS and all those things. So, but we can't do it ourselves and you can't do it yourself, right? So it's working together as a community to get these things moving along.
And I'm tired of city like doing like what you said, little segments. We're gonna do this little piece, and then there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And they gotta look at the whole picture, and Groundworks has that push that can say, we need that red light.
For sure.
Thanks. Alex, you had a question?
Yeah,
Comment?
question. Are the QR codes available on the Groundwork website?
No, but so you mean like if someone were to go to our website to be able to fill out the base? No, but we can add them on there. We can add the links to it's because we're doing a very focused like surveys. So we don't put it on our general website. We go directly to the communities that we need the information from.
The reason I ask is I could send out a newsletter to the El Cerrito community. We have about 400 subscribers. So I would need to know where to send them if you want them to.
Right.
Yeah.
We can also put it on our website as well. And our own community websites and social media.
Yeah, and we can, I mean, the QR code, we can, then can scan that and have the link itself. So you can send them out the links directly.
Well, especially if you want, you know.
We want to get some robust feedback on this.
For sure, appreciate it. And then the last slide is just thank you questions and my contact info as well.
Do you have cards back here, Rosie? Do you have cards here or anything?
No, I don't, not yet. I'm currently finishing the design of the cards because I also do some design and communications. So I've been there like 4 weeks. I told Leslie, we're like, everything gets pushed back. So maybe next time I'll have cards for you guys.
Okay.
Could you also give this similar presentation to the next City Heights CRG?
I think so. I was there at the last one.
I remember you.
And I think it was what you guys decided not to do it for a couple months. So yeah, should be able to.
We're doing every other month.
Oh, okay.
So you could talk to Raul.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind if you also tell him, and if he requests it, might be easier than me going to my end.
Okay. Well, I'm asking for what I want.
Okay, so just to wrap up, I'll get the information from you and put the QR codes and the links on our website, planning group, and I will send it out to everybody so you can put it in newsletters or post it in your community social media.
Sure.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
No problem.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ozzy. Really appreciate it. Okay. So our next, it's not really an action item, it's probably a discussion item. It's to talk about what happens after the April election. because I'm turned out, I won't be coming back. So, I did just want to say to transition, we have, Rolando Park has a Zoom account, which we will make available to the planning group. As long as there's a Rolando Park or a Redwood Village rep on board, we'll be able to set it up so that the meetings can continue to be hybrid meetings. We're getting a new conference speaker for our community council group, so I'm going to give this and a second camera. It's not quite like that, but it works almost the same. So there will be a camera and audio available for the meetings as well. And whoever is going to take over that part of it, we can do a little tutorial about setting up once everybody decides. I think that's really all I wanted to cover tonight, is just to say, need to start thinking about a transition and start thinking about praying that the Groundwork gets that grant so that you can get an intern to do the website and posting, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Gonna let it go that short tonight. So review, correction, and approval of the January minutes. Did everyone review them? Do I have any corrections?
Look at that. Wow.
No. You spell check people. No. No corrections? Motion to approve.
Approved.
Second. And Andy? Thank you. Roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Bettina?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Jen? Kristen?
Yes.
Laura? We'll come back. Richard? You're muted.
You're muted.
Laura, you're muted as well. Laura?
I say yes.
Thank you. Richard?
Yes.
Thank you. Sonia?
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved unanimously. On to subcommittee reports, election subcommittee update, and that would be Alex and Bettina. Share something with us tonight.
There's something, please.
I'll let Alex. You
Yeah.
did the first
Well,
part
well,
of
well,
this.
there's 7 vacancies, as you might know.
Yes.
We went ahead and asked the three people who already occupied the seat whether they want to run again, and Laura Rebo, Melfido said yes. John Hogan from Redwood Village said yes. Diaz, however, will not run again. So Oak Park will have 2 vacancies, it looks like.
Okay,
And right now we have vacancies for Rolando Park, I guess 2 vacancies, right?
no, just one for
One for Rolando Park,
yes,
and one for Redwood Village. That's right.
yes.
Oak Park and then Webster. So hopefully, those of you who come from those areas can try to recruit somebody, draw someone to,
Well, Emily's actually doing our work for us. She found someone at Rolando Park.
she's the person
Oh,
who
thank you.
lived at Rolando Park, and he's still thinking about it. So,
Okay,
but that's kind of out of my bailiwick.
yeah. You can't find anyone at Rolando, but you could find
I know.
someone at Rolando Park.
I
It turns
might
out to
even
be
have
someone
someone
I
at Oak
know.
Park. Well, good.
And he would be an excellent candidate. Excellent. So,
And
you have,
you sent out the call for candidates.
I did send it out, yeah,
And
and
that can be posted in libraries, some places.
it's been posted online everywhere. And so we just need maybe to put it up in the libraries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would post it in El Cerrito, but Laura and I are already here. so-
Exactly, so no problem there.
But there's still a requirement that you have to attend 3 meetings before you can run.
No, that's a part of the reform process
Yeah.
last year and the change to our operating procedures.
Mhm.
You could just show up, although we're asking people to declare their candidacy by the end of this month, by the
Yeah.
25th.
Have you heard from anyone yet?
Zip. Except for Emily, who is
Emily's coming back.
getting, no, she's getting
I have a friend
candidates
in
for us from our
Rolando Park.
community.
You know,
John and I tried to convince someone on Saturday, but it's too soon.
There may be a little bit of some vacancies, which would not be unusual. We go through this up and down. Okay, thanks. So we will have the election at our next meeting. I'll have to do the ballot stuff. And since I'm already here at 6, we can open the doors at 6 for the election. All right, thank you. Community updates. Just if you have anything for your community, nothing from El Cerrito, Webster, nothing, Rolando. Who should I talk to Doug about a booth for the Rolando Street Fair?
No, actually, I'm handling that, so. Okay. That's up. Yeah.
Okay. All right, taken care of. Thank you. I'll get with you then later. Oak Park, anything? Oh, Laura, sorry, did you have something?
Yes, I wanted to know from Rolando if there's any update on the roads being, the work that they're doing underground so that the roads can be paved. I was writing on Streamview, not Streamview, oh shoot, what's the one that goes by the
It's got
Seminole, thank you, Seminole. And again today, and it is just so bad. And I know it got delayed, and we were all kind of thinking it was going to get started, then it got delayed. And I wonder if anybody has an update on that, the new time frame.
Yes, I sent something to Emily and Bob a few months ago. They're doing a sewer and water main replacement on Seminole now. So it's looks like it's going to be next year before they start repaving, isn't it? I think that's what
I mean, they're not doing any work.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to be doing some work. They're supposed to start a sewer and water main replacement back there. It was supposed to start at the end of the year. Who knows, Laura?
Well, I have seen some city trucks doing some work, and they were
They've been
further
further
east, like coming from La Mesa. But I just hadn't seen anything around Seminole, and then Acorn, and all the roads that are right behind Vaughn's and stuff. That whole strip, which it makes sense, I guess, that they start at the east and come west. But
yeah, I'll check the city and I'll check the city engineering page again, see if there's a date, and we can discuss it at the next meeting. But it's at least a year away from repaving.
Okay.
They did some water and storm drain replacement at Rolando and Salida a couple months ago, but they haven't done anything on the west side.
Yeah, I saw some stuff around 67th and in the different. I do travel in that area regularly, and probably I don't know, once a week or so, and so to see different things. But just kept hoping. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Laura. Redwood Village, Rolando Park. We had our first Streamview Dumpster Day of the year on Saturday. I think, did Roberta mention that? We filled 2 dumpsters in less than 2 hours.
7 tons of trash.
No, we diverted 1,800 pounds of metal to recycling instead of going to the landfill.
Nice.
And so that's the first of 4 that we're doing on Streamview this year. They're all free dumpster days, and it's part of the program to try and work on the illegal dumping on Streamview issue. And Mr. Williams' office will be helping us out on the next dumpster days. Yes, thank you. And we'll help with flyers. I'll talk with you or Chandra about that. Okay, thanks. And that's it, I think, for community updates. Danielle, did you have something on park?
No, we mentioned the 8.
An update? Yeah, go ahead. Turn it.
Yeah, because this came up before, but there's a 15-unit apartment building that was proposed for a cul-de-sac, Redwood Village.
ADUs.
Not ADUs, it's
no.
an apartment building.
No, it says ADUs on the plan.
Oh, it's an apartment building.
Okay,
It's
I
not-
mean,
not
yes, it is. It
ADUs.
says ADUs, but yeah.
Say what it wants. The reality is it's an apartment building. And happens to be a street I grew up on, so I'm very familiar with it. And the city has approved the project, so residents lost your back. That we never really had in the first place, frankly, but yeah. So get ready for more of those.
Well, there's
Residents
actually
put
one
a-
behind the school in Rolando.
Yeah,
I saw
eight-
posted earlier
unit.
this year,
Mhm.
same thing. So. Okay, thank you. Danielle, did you have some updates for us?
I just wanted to let you know about Troy's Lake Little League. We had our team announcement day last Saturday with a little bit of a cleanup. And our opening day is the 22nd of February at 9 a.m. And we're inviting anyone who'd like to come. We have about 10 teams, which is better than during COVID. We've doubled that number of teams, but we're not quite up there with all of the larger little leagues who have hundreds and hundreds of children showing up to play, which is amazing to see. At the opening day, we are hoping to get the San Diego Friar there. He was there last year, and we're hoping for him back again. So that's my update. I have nothing from the Park and Rec Board that I can think of that's here for the eastern area. And you all heard about what happened at the Kalinas meeting last January about this presentation on alternative 1 or 2 for therapy. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Danielle. Laura, do you have any update from the January CPC meeting to share or?
We had a presentation on the mobility master plan and that's been revised, and the fact that there's also a survey available online for everybody to go be able to have some input on. And we also had a presentation by Paul Coogan over in Normal Heights, and it was a request for the city to halt permits and building in the very high fire zones in the city. And we went ahead and approved and have a letter going to the city for that request on waiting until the city upgrades infrastructure and building codes to meet the increased wildfire threat. And Lynn, I don't know if you have a copy of that presentation. I'll send it to you to send out, because our neighborhoods have a lot of canyons and are in some of these zones. And I know a lot of the neighborhoods have also formed a fire council or are in the process of doing so. And we could easily be affected. Just because the canyons are smaller than, say, Mission Valley doesn't mean it could still be devastating for our areas. So I'll send that on to you so you can send it out.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Someone brought it up last night at our community council meeting about forming a fire safe council for Rolando and Redwood Village. Yep. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And do you have, you do, oh, Richard, did you have a?
Yeah, just about Oak
question?
Park.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, very quickly. We have some Oak Park residents that have been making contact with folks down in Encanto because of the radio tower development. And that's been in the news. And the reason why we're doing that is because we have a radio tower 9-acre lot owned by the same people. And so we are assuming that they're going to do the same thing. And they were successful down in Encanto to get this footnote 7 reversed, where they wanted to build additional units on smaller lots. So that's what we're doing now, and I'm glad we have a couple of residents that are really getting involved in that, and they do have contacts down south of State Route 94 for us. So that's the big news that we have for Oak Park, and that's it. That's all I gotta say for now.
Okay, thanks. Any other community updates? Yes.
If I may, I didn't get a chance to share this, but on Thursday, at Porter Elementary School, the independent budget analyst is going to a budget analyst, sort of a town hall at the elementary school. And so we're encouraging folks, if they can, from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, to participate, and go and ask questions, lots of questions about how the budget process works and how the infrastructure is prioritized. Go get those questions answered. Please do that again. That's at the Porter Elementary School, which is on 47 and ACU, and from 6 to 8.
Okay.
13. And one more thing, we over in the board are really concerned about floods and rains. So I do have some fast facts about flooding. So if you, I'll leave them out here. But just to be sure, the city has put out this announcement: clear leaves and trash and debris, storm drains, secure trash, and recycling bins, and place them at least 2 to 3 feet from the curb. Turn off irrigation to prevent excess runoff, and plan safe routes in case of flooding. Avoid walking, biking, and riding. Okay, so I'll leave this information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Appreciate it. Last thing, Mid-City Community Plan update. I still do not have a location for the next meeting in March. Go figure. I don't. We'll find out. I did attend the college area community plan update subcommittee meeting. I think you were there, Alex, online. And then I went to Nathan Cosman's Q&A on the plan. I'll listen to that just because I wanted to get a feel for how people were feeling about the community plan update and what kinds of issues we should expect on the Mid-City community plan update. Yes.
And when is the date for the next?
I believe
working group?
it's on the 19th.
March 19th.
Let me check real quick. Yes, it's on March 19th. It's the same night as we have a Kalina meeting.
Same night as the cleaning meeting.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
And they want people at both.
Yeah, of course.
I locate.
Yeah.
Well, are they gonna have it at the Cleveland Parks and Rec Department? Like, if they have it in that building, we'll all be there anyway, so.
No, I don't
That's
know where they're
we
gonna
should
have
plan
it.
that.
I know. Not gonna happen. Two concerns I did hear from the college area group. One is about building, new building in high-risk fire zones. And the other point I thought was well taken is to make sure that our community plan has a emergency evacuation route plan for our communities. If you're one community like college area, we're 6 communities. Just in the eastern area. I can't even imagine what City Heights looks like. Trying to, but those are things that we should be thinking about, and insist that would be in our community plan upload as well. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, well, considering big cities has about 10% of the population, so evacuation route would probably be important.
Yes.
College area is about 1%.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I did look at the map. I mean, pretty much all of this area is a high-risk fire zone.
Yeah.
And the city is continuing to build. About a third of the city is being, new development is being built in high-risk fire areas. So something to think
In
about.
California, San Diego State has those high-rise buildings at the very north end of their campus. People who look at Highway 8.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the evacuation there, Halloween was.
As we know. Pretty.
And then,
Yes.
Last thing too. Yeah, in fact, the San Diego Fire Department, I think starting in July, you can request fire personnel to come to your home and tell you how to fire handle it and so on and so forth. And in the article, I think it was in Voice of San Diego. Get this, the person who was doing the inspection up in Colorado Estates, right? He went up there when he had his home partly burned. He goes, oh yeah, ADU should be about 30 feet from any other structure. Of course, it is absolutely laughable. I mean, I don't know how the planning department doesn't talk to the fire department as some ADUs are right on the property line and others are, this new thing coming up is probably also a fire zone.
Yes.
You know, my home, the canyon behind me, right, it begins actually one of the branches of Choice Creek. You know, so I look at the map, I'm in a fire zone too, even though, you know, the whole home's been there since 1950. So nothing's burned down, but nonetheless, this idea that you need space, is gonna become a real problem. Particularly around things like insurance and just other, and then evacuation.
Yeah.
You know, Mid-Cities Planning Group needs to really think about that in terms of how these plans are moving forward. This can't be build, 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 because, you know, we're now all really much in fire zone. There's very little San Diego that is, maybe downtown by the water, but otherwise.
La Jolla. Okay, I think that concludes for tonight. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Alex. And good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone online.